Welcome everybody back to BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Bruckell LeGran Luxe Grandiose V6. Now this isn't part of the remastered version that we came out not long ago, but it is the most powerful and fastest front wheel drive station wagon that we have on the game from LeGran, or from the LeGran model, but we will eventually look at the remastered version at some point. But I really do like these wood panelling station wagons from America. And yeah, not only does that have wood panelling, but it's also got anti-lock brakes. It was made between 1984 and 1988. Has a 3.8 litre V6, naturally aspirated, producing 150 horsepower and 188 pounds-feet of torque. And it weighs 3,439 pounds, which isn't all that much for a station wagon of this size. So, like in the last review, we're going to hurl it around on this course, and then we'll take a look at it in terms of dealing with some crash tests. But first, let's see what it can do here. The suspension is good for dealing with bumps and jumps, and just how much the engine and drive train can handle. I imagine quite a fair bit, because the LeGran is quite a tough vehicle, despite being front wheel drive, which typically can mean being quite weak. The doors are bending a little bit. So they lost or damaged a fair bit of bodywork so far. These are quite big jumps, these are. Oh dear. Ow, 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 ow. Oh. And we've landed on our side. Lost the hubcap in the process. Seem to be holding up fairly well so far. Although we have obviously lost the radiator. Which means this is going to die a death of overheating if we don't kill it in some other way. The rest of the hubcaps. It's put up a fair good fight so far. Obviously the only other vehicle that we've done in this kind of review series is the Wendover, which was also front wheel drive, but that was also, I think, heavier than this, so it was under a lot more strain when being driven around here at stupid o'clock. Oh dear, well, that didn't go very well. We still have the a diff to move, because otherwise we are dead. No, we do not. Well, that's a bit of a shame, but yeah, I think that survived fairly well. It was pretty much my own driving that killed it there. It wasn't necessarily the fault of the car. So let's get to the other side of this grid map, and yeah, let's have a look at what you can do in a rollover test, an explosive barrel test, and a cinder block test. So yeah, I'll see you when we get there. Right, so here we are, we've got our 3 tests. So let's get on the rollover sled first. We'll give it 3 goes and see just how much punishment it can take. Wendover was really rather quite good on this. It's easily one of the better tests that it was successful at. So yeah, let's see what we can do here. There's the barrels and there's a cinder block that we're going to be going up against. I do apologise for my phone going off. But yeah, the Wendover was surprisingly good at this. But I think this being a bit more cylindrical shaped, well, it's going to roll a lot more during the tests, whereas the Wendover only rolled once for the first 2 tests, and then it was only when its roof had been deformed to the kind of shape that rolls over nicely that in the third test that it rolled a fair bit, whereas this has rolled quite significantly on its first rollover. Taking a fair bit of damage there. The roof has been severely deformed, the front wheels I think have been bent, we've lost windows and bodywork as well, but they're still drivable. Let's see what we can do on this second one. See if we get any better. Oops. Do apologise for that, I accidentally tabbed out. Yeah, it's clearly only going to take even more damage now that it took a lot first time around. Boot was open, the bonnet is opened up as well. Ow. Yeah, the wheels are properly bent now. So let's see if we can still drive. We can move, but not without a lot of pain from those tyres. The suspension is bobbling a fair bit as well. We've even got the power to get up there. Run up will help, no doubt. Yeah, that's the problem with these when the vehicles are broken, they're a lot more difficult to control. What we got there? Just about. Right, let's see if we can survive this. Wendover did survive, with not very much damage really, it was only really to the roof that the damage was centred on. So let's see if this is still at least drivable after the end of this. Not looking likely. I think we've lost a complete wheel there. And as we saw earlier, the diff does not allow one-wheel drive. This we ended up on our front. Well, I think the wheel's just about attached, but it's not steering. Which is what's letting us go, but we don't really have all that much in the way of control, to be honest. That wheel is pointing one way and the other wheel is trying to move the other way, and it's just not working. So yeah, that failed on that. First rollover was good despite how many times it rolled over, but it could not take the continuing rolling as 3 times in a row. Whereas obviously because the Wendover only really rolled the once first time and second time, and then only rolled multiple times the third time. That's what helped it survive. So yeah, let's at least see if we can survive the crash barrel, the crash hard explosive barrels. Now the Wendover's entire front disintegrated on this. It had no drive, no engine or anything. And looking like the same for this. Yep, we've lost all drive at the front. The engine has survived, which didn't happen with the Wendover, but yeah, we're not going to be driving anywhere because it's got no front wheels anymore. But yeah, I'd say that survived it better than the Wendover because the engine survived and the majority of the bodywork is still intact. So yeah, that definitely did better than the Wendover. Now what about the cinder block wall, which is quite an arduous task to ask of even a modern vehicle, never mind something from the 80s. So let's see what happens. Yep, that's fine. It's not, the blocks haven't come for the windscreen. We've not really deformed the passenger compartment whatsoever. Obviously the front has taken a fair bit of damage, but that is only really it, to be honest. Right, so let's move on to the crash hall and do a 30, 40 and 60 mile an hour small overlap crash test. And then we'll get onto the highway where we will go up against 2 vehicles that are of similar size and weight, and then one that really isn't. So yeah, let's get to the crash hall. Right, so here we are at the crash hall. Now the Wendover was safe enough at 30, but at 40 and then 60 mile an hour it was really rather quite underwhelming. So let's see if this LeGran can do any better. So we'll start at 30, which admittedly is not the highest of speed impacts, but it is a good test of what a car would normally crash at, because a lot of roads in the UK and the US are about this speed. So let's see what happens at 30. I imagine it'll do well. Yeah, that's fine. Obviously the door has deformed a little bit and could well struggle to open, trying to get out, but yeah, the rest of the car has done its job. It's taken the damage and not the passengers or driver, so yeah, fairly impressed by that. But that is about the same kind of level of damage as a Wendover took. So what happens at 40 miles an hour? Is it as dramatically different as it was with the Wendover? We'll have to see. Nope, that's pretty fine to be honest. Only major difference there is that the door has come away a little bit more and the roof has slightly gone up, but to be honest, outside of that, that is perfectly fine. Yeah, that's a lot better than what the Wendover managed. Right, so the real test is 60 mile an hour, which is where the Wendover really failed, so let's see if this can do any better. That's not entirely lined up right, but it should be alright. Yeah, that's a fail. That's pretty much the same way that the Wendover went. So this is at least better at 30 and 40 miles an hour, but at 60, or at least the same at 30 and better at 40, but at 60 it is just as much of a fail, to be honest. Yeah, the steering wheel has completely come towards the driver. The door has completely buckled to beyond being able to be opened easily. And yeah, the roof has gone up, and yeah, pretty much any more speed and you'd be, yeah, even more unlikely to survive that. Right, let's get onto the highway and crash up against a trio of vehicles. Right, so here we are at the highway, and yeah, the first car we're going to be going up against is the ETK, but obviously, unlike with the Wendover review, I can't control the AI in the easiest of manner, but yeah, it should be able to at least get a good impact here. The ETK is a few £100 lighter than we are, but is from around the same time. Why the hell is he doing that? I swear I put it on chase me. Yeah, I did, so why is it... I don't know why he started to turn around there, but whatever. I think we both failed at that, to be honest. Yeah. Obviously the steering wheel hasn't moved dramatically, but the roof has gone way up, as it has with the ETK, and yeah, that's heavily damaging. So yeah, not the best of starts for the LeGran there. Though obviously we weren't going particularly fast in comparison to the ETK, but I still doubt that would have made much of a difference. We're still doing 60 miles an hour, which is hardly slow, and yeah, I doubt the ETK was going much more than that as well. So let's go with another similarly aged, similarly sized vehicle. And when I say similarly sized, obviously I mean in terms of weight. Actual physical size really does not matter. Now this is a little bit heavier than what we are, but it's from around the same period, the late 80s, and is not much heavier than we are. So let's see what a Kashira can do in comparison to this. Obviously being heavier, that does give this the advantage, but that does not necessarily mean it's going to be better. Some heavier vehicles can be far worse than lighter vehicles. Let's get up to a bit more of a rate of speed this time. Try to get dead on line, but yeah, that's pretty much the same kind of damage as the ETK, to be honest. Kashira's probably got a little away with that a little bit better, despite the roof also coming up, but to be honest, despite how damaging it looks, that's still probably survivable with an airbag and good seatbelt. So yeah, not behaving the worst here, but let's see what it happens when we go up against a vehicle that is really not similarly sized. Unfortunately, I have lost the Canyonero mod that we used in the Wendover review. I don't know where it's gone. I might have deleted it by accident, but we can still get in a large SUV regardless. We'll get in the the four-wheel drive LXT, which has more power, more torque than we are, and is 5,302 pounds in weight, which is good near 2,000 pounds more than we are. So not expecting the LeGran to survive this, pretty much just like the Wendover didn't. but I think we've got a little bit of a taller front end on this, so we might well not go completely under the gavril that the Wendover did. Oh, nope. We pretty much, yeah, went under it. Not quite as bad as under it as the Wendover was, but yeah, definitely no better in terms of crash safety there. So yeah, that's obviously kind of predictable, and as you can see, the Roma has got away with virtually no damage whatsoever. In fact, it took even more damage in the Cannonero version than this version against the Wendover, probably because the Wendover is also a little bit heavier than the LeGran, but yeah, that version of the Gavril lost the drive shaft, whereas this still has both front and rear, and should therefore be able to get away. What if we weren't completely crash welded? But yeah, regardless, yeah, the LeGran on the whole, I think maybe performed a little bit better than the Wendover. Performed just as well in the 30-mile-an-hour impact, better in the 40-mile-an-hour impact, and just as bad in the 60-mile-an-hour impact. Did better in the crash barrel crash test, did better just as well in the cinder block crash test, was worse in the rollover crash test, but I think overall it is just as strong as the Wendover, if not better in terms of crash safety. So yeah, an overall pass there for the LeGran, whereas I think the Wendover, outside of the free crash test, outside of everything we did on the grid map basically, and the 30-mile-an-hour impact, was a little bit poorer than this. But yeah, nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.